Welcome to Big Shoulders, the show where we explore the civic tech space here in Chicago. I'm Adam Heckman. I'm the Director of Technology and Civic Innovation for Chicago for Microsoft. And with me we have Daniel Goff.
Hi. Great.
Good to see you, Dan. Thanks for coming.
Thanks.
Just about everybody in the civic tech space has, at one point or another, considered public service as an option, or at least thought about it. Dan actually has lived that. Dan is wrapping up his time. He spent a few years in state. He worked for the Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity, specifically the
Nicely
Office
done.
of Trade and Investment, right?
Yep, you got it.
Deputy Director.
Yeah, it's a long business card, yeah.
It's a long business card, but it's really interesting because, as I said, a lot of people think about public service. You actually did it, and so now we're going to get sort of the view from the inside out. So, Dan, tell us about how you got to this point.
Sure. So I came into public service actually from a bit of an untraditional path. A lot of people go into public service because of an interest in politics. They work on a campaign. They do a fellowship. They have a public policy degree. But I actually started with a business background. I earned my MBA in 2011 with a focus on international business and finance. I was working in management consulting, and I was approached with the opportunity to become Deputy Director of the Illinois Office of Trade and Investment at the Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity. And I said, my God, what is that, and why is the title so long? But I learned very quickly what an interesting and impactful thing it can be to be working in a senior position in the public sector, and what a great experience it is. So. The Office of Trade and Investment is responsible for two major things: helping Illinois small businesses take their businesses outbound, outside of the U.S., look for opportunities abroad, distributors, buyers, market research, things like that to help them grow their businesses, and then working with foreign businesses to help convince them that the Chicago area and Illinois is a good place to do business.
So you were stimulating bilateral trade.
Exactly, yeah. And the two go hand in hand in a lot of ways. If you're trying to convince a widget maker that Chicago is a great place to do business and to make widgets, there's no better way to do that than to show, well, here are all the Chicago area widget makers that are currently selling in Germany, say, and wouldn't you like to be able to compete with them on their home turf?
What was it about your background prior to coming to the state that caused them to pay attention to you, that said, this is a person we would want? I know you mentioned you went to business school and then you did some consulting. Specifically, what was in that background that was appealing?
So I think there are a lot of what government does, particularly at a local level, is try to help provide services to businesses to help them grow. And I think as a result, if you have a small business background, a consulting background, some sort of background other than working on campaigns, there's a lot of demand for that kind of service. And those kinds of skills, and you have sort of an instant credibility when you walk into a meeting with a small business. When you say, "Look, I understand what you're going through. I've been down this road with you," instead of I'm just another faceless bureaucrat. Even though, as we know, faceless bureaucrats are generally anything but.
Right.
But
exactly.
that credibility is really important.
So your experience in the private sector gave you the credibility and the speaking with authority.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think that it is important that government officials who are trying to help small businesses or help businesses grow understand what they're going through. One thing I found, and for all of you out there who are thinking about starting businesses, I would say my advice that that I can offer is call your friends in your local government officials, because there are a ton of great services out there that people don't take advantage of to the extent that they should. And some of that is actually I do think is a bit of a government background, is that people don't focus on marketing of programs the way they do on developing really strong programs. So there are a lot of great programs out there that people don't have a sense of, and that's somewhere where I think technology can really help connect these businesses to the right services.
That's interesting that you mentioned that, because in the civic tech space in Chicago, we have groups that are focused on helping individual citizens find social services, there's probably a good space in there for helping individual businesses find
Sure.
what services they're eligible for from the state. So maybe that's an opportunity for somebody out there.
Absolutely.
All right, that's great. So let's shift gears for a second and talk a little bit about technology. The view from inside the state of technology in general and civic technology specifically. Did you interface with folks at that level?
I did a bit here and there. I think that there are two things that I would focus on. One is just the importance of technology as a tool internally for use in the government. Governments are way understaffed, under-resourced at this point, and anything you can do to help fix that is a great thing, and technology is a great force multiplier for individuals. It can be a challenge. I always said anybody under 40 working for the state of Illinois is definitionally one of the state's experts in technology, because it's a lot of older people who aren't necessarily so comfortable. So I was both the head of my office and the IT director, which is fixing the printers and things like that. So an interesting mix. Additionally, technology is such a great tool for the open data movement is such a great tool for accountability, which is really important. I think that governments are realizing, as businesses are. I don't think it's all so very different, the sort of open data movement and the big data on the corporate side. I think it's sort of the same thing, is you collect a lot of information, a lot of data about how your organizations function and how can you use that data to make decisions. And it's not easy. I mean, I don't think anyone has found an easy solution on the corporate side with big data. There's been some progress, but it's not sort of an open and shut case yet, and it's definitely true in the government space as well. But it can be a great tool for decision making. It's also a great tool for accountability, which is so important. I mean, over the last couple of years, the state of Illinois has posted all of its grants online, which gives citizens access to a lot of information about how their money is being spent that otherwise would be a lot more difficult to get to. And that's a great thing. We're very happy to see it happen. And really, locally, at both the state and the city level, the administrations have been very good about pushing in this direction.
I think you hit on two key points here. Is that yes, open data provides a high degree of transparency and accountability, but it's also sort of the food that feeds and evolves civic tech players.
Yeah.
The government puts out this data and says, help us solve the problems in our city, state, nation, et cetera.
Absolutely.
Civic tech players come in and either for the greater good or for profit will come in and start building that out. So the more the state puts out, the better.
Absolutely. And it's hard in any business to stop your day-to-day operations and think about what's coming next. And to the extent that entrepreneurs and civic-minded people can come in and play with some of this data and provide that service, that's great. It's not like, if the cab drivers had been sitting around thinking what's coming next, maybe they could have fought off Uber. It's not unique to the government that this is a problem, but I think that that we've seen so much progress in the civic tech space as a result of all of this innovation. It's been great for citizens.
I think you speak to this new ethos of from inside government that not all the best ideas come out of the state capitol or out of City Hall or out of DC. We have a lot of people here that are very smart that have great ideas on how to use this stuff to solve our problems.
Absolutely. And I think there's one more point that I think is important, is since a lot of my job was attracting investment and talking about Chicago and Illinois as a business destination, that's basically a marketing job. And all of this innovation around technology in general and civic technology is really important. Everyone understands the importance of the technology industry, and I read a statistic recently that for every technology job that's created, another 4 jobs are created afterwards in follow-on industries. So
the multiplier
there's a huge
effect.
multiplier effect for technology.
Going back and thinking about that experience that you had, with the state, it sounds like you had a good amount of development, economic opportunity, marketing, some technology. It sounds like in a fairly compact number of years, you got a lot of really good experience.
Oh, absolutely. And I think that's one of the things that I would really say for anyone interested in public service is the amount of access and exposure you can have working for the government, even at a junior level, is pretty amazing. And the amount of, of experience you can develop, things you can learn, and the impact you can make is enormous. I went from, again, being a consultant to having a team of 35, 40 people working for me in 11 countries. And that's a fantastic experience. And you learn a ton from that. And if you get people rowing in the right direction, you can really do a lot of good.
All right, so you heard it here. Working for the government is cool again. You get to pack a lot of experience in a concise number of years. And since you're always resource constrained, you get to do a lot of stuff. So it's
I'm glad I can make something cool again. It's my days are numbered on that. So
I think the best days are ahead of you.
Oh, that's very sweet.
Dan Goff, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it. This has been Big Shoulders.